All right. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Stock Analysis Friday on this September 19th, 2025. Great to have you all here. Okay. I see the stock picks coming in, which is great. Thank you for putting them in. Ed, how are you? Thank you for putting them in caps and letting me know what's going on. In other words, whether you're long, short, or whatever. And that way I can kind of tailor the analysis to you specifically, which is great. And then type those in caps for everybody, just so I can see them better. Okay. All right. Hope everybody's having a good week. Market is, making new highs. We had interest rates cut this week, but I'm still looking for the market to sell off at some point pretty soon here. But for right now, let's enjoy the party as it keeps going to the upside. We also have Bitcoin now at right around 115 to 116. So that's done pretty well too. And I've got, of course, a complete analysis I can give you in the MOR report if you are a MOR subscriber. So I cover Bitcoin and all the major indexes in that weekly report and video. All right. So that's available to you. And Jeannie will put a link up there at some point here today where you can join, or if you're watching the recording, it'll be below. All right, let me just rip through some of the administrational items so we can get into the charts. First thing, just to let you know, there are risks involved in trading and even investing in the financial markets. So you have to be aware of that. Past performance doesn't guarantee future performance. And always invest and trade with money you can afford to risk in the markets. So that's really important. For more active traders, know what your risk is when you take each and every trade, and know what your potential goal is on that trade. In other words, where's your target? Where are you going to get out of the market if it doesn't do what you expect it to do? Don't forget, we're dealing around with probabilities. So you could have a completely good strategy, but it doesn't mean it's going to work every time. So you have to plan on it not working, and therefore adjust your trade size. And also keep your stop loss in place in case it doesn't do what it's supposed to do. That's important. And then let's see, what else can I tell you? All right, so past performance doesn't guarantee future performance. We deal in a realm of probabilities. And I think I also need to mention too that anything we suggest here, in other words, when I give a recommendation for something or say it really looks good, go ahead and check with your financial advisor before actually acting on that recommendation. I don't know your personal situation, and they certainly should. So it's really important you run it by them first. Okay. So that's the other important thing to talk about. All right. I think that handles that portion. And if we move on to books, I have two great books on money management in front of you there. Again, I'll put the link below. You can go to our website also. And my newest book, The Art of Trading, second edition, is out this year. Came out in January. It's done really well. And it's a big book, about 608 pages. And if you're going to buy one book, buy that one. Okay. It's got all the latest information and it's extremely comprehensive. All right. And that leads us to the software we're going to be using today. Many of you probably already own it. We've been doing this now for over 30 years, and I've been trading for well over 35 years. So it's been a long time, and our software has been out since, I guess, 2003. And basically, it first was something that came out after the demand for it. I was with a major wirehouse, and we were using it on our active trading accounts. And now it's being used in over 85 countries worldwide and used by hedge funds and individual investors and traders alike. It works on all time frames. So if you're an investor long-term, you can use it. And if you're an active day trader, you can use it as well. All right. It also includes scanners and risk control software as other possibilities you can add on to the software. Anyway, I'll put a link below for that. And Gino always wants me to show this screen because this is how we promote the channel. So give us a like. We appreciate that. And then also, too, don't forget about the MOR report. Gino put a link up for the MOR report as well, but there'll also be one if you're watching in the recordings down below. The MOR report is our comprehensive weekly report. It includes an actual report plus a video I do on Sundays. And in that report is our stock picks as well. So it's kind of like two services in one. You get a detailed market forecast for the upcoming week, short-term, long-term, and then also their stock picks in there. And it's very inexpensive. So support the channel, check it out, and Gene will put that link up there. All right, let's jump in. Ed, I'm going to start with you. I've got Bitcoin up here, and it's trucking on up. As you can see here, we expect it to reach a certain target. And if you're interested in knowing what that is exactly, of course, tune into the latest report on the MOR report. All right, let me just make sure I get started here correctly. And I think, Ed, you were the first one. All right, QUBT. QUBT. All right, you're up 48%. Love that. Okay. And it looks like you had a pretty good week this week on it. All right, so we looked at this last week and we drew on the weekly chart. This is the weekly chart over here. This is the daily chart. It's the same stock in this case. But check this out. We did a measurement last week on the weekly chart. And the measured move could take us up to about 39 bucks. Okay. As a safety, when we get halfway up on the measured move, I usually scale out of a little bit. Okay. So that would be, I'll put S for scale out right here. So that would be right around the 30 mark. Okay. You know, this number here is not exact. It's approximate. So it's very possible you could go up something like this and come down. You never quite know exactly, but in any case, it gives us a good range to shoot for. So I'm thinking that's where it's going to go, which means it would take out the previous high, which makes sense because if you look on the weekly chart, and Ed, I know you own this software, look at the PTF. Okay, so it's green. So that's also calling for this high to be taken out, which will put it right near that $30 mark for it to go on up the rest of the way. So I'm pretty happy with this. I think it's good, and it looks pretty good. I don't think I'm going to recommend anybody at this point for it, simply because this would have been, I think Ed had been in this one for a while, so he got in earlier, which was, I think, really key. You know, if we start breaking this high here, you'll have bearish divergence, and so you're really never sure exactly how high it's going to go. But it looks pretty good here. The PTF has a 75% probability, not 100%, but 75, that it will break that high. What the PTF doesn't tell you is how long it's going to take and the pullbacks that you could get along the way. So keep that in mind. All right, but it's a great indicator. I use it all the time. All right, let's take a look at your next one. So I guess I'd stay with that one. I think you're doing good. Let's try to get that 48 up to 100%. All right, RCAT, RCAT. All right, and let's see. So you're up 16%. All right, on this one. And let's take a look at that. First thing I look for when I'm using my indicators is I like to look for the PTF, if I can find it on one of the two time frames. And you can see it over here on the left. But in order to see what it's telling you, what we need to do is see where the highest high is when it went above or first turn green. And that's this high here. So that's around 13 bucks, Ed. So I think probably you're good to go up into there. Let's take a look at price action and price structure to see if we can get another clue. And to me, this is a wave 3. So if you're an Elliott wave person like I am, that has meaning. And what we'll do is we'll go ahead and give you a target based on wave 5. All right. And so that wave 5 is right here. Now, the retracement, the ABC, boy, classic ABC retracement there. That retracement was deep. All right. Still warrants a wave 4, but it was a deep wave 4. So when you have a deep wave 4, you're going to have a lower or more shallow wave 5. And so that's why notice that the target for the wave 5s is a little bit below the wave 3. And wave 5s, unless they fail, usually get above wave 3. And with a PTF green here, I think it's as safe as bet as I can give you that we should get above the previous high. So again, I would hold this one, and it looks pretty good for on its way up. All right, let's take a look at your next one, QSG. QSG, and you just bought, and you're all long on all these, right? Okay, so let's take a look at this. Well, right away, what's the first thing I look at? The PTFs, right? That's this indicator here at the bottom. Let me make that a little bigger. Okay, so it's green here on both time frames. So you don't want to be short, right? So that's a good one. We have a pyramid trading point entry. And these pyramids are part of the ART software. And basically how they work is they look for fractals in the market with momentum. So it's not only just looking at the pattern, it's analyzing the momentum that made the pattern. It's a freaking great indicator. And as you can see, it had you long here. All right, nice first early entry in here. All right, profits taken here. And now it's got you long in here. So I would say we're probably on our way up to another high. And as you can see from our owl indicator, that's showing a wave 3 that makes sense on the price structure. So I'm liking that. So let's use our fib extensions to see what the possible target is here. Now I draw my fib extensions a little differently than what's normally taught. And if you want to learn that, I have a course on that as well. All right, so I'm looking 1577 up to 21 bucks on the wave 5 target. So if we label this here, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. And that looks like it will still be part of this impulsive move up because this is not going red yet. All right. So this red indicates wave 4. You can almost count the waves through the owl indicator. And you always have bearish divergence between 5 and 3. Okay, so again, I hold this one too. All right, you may have a little bit more of a pullback. We had kind of a bearish bar here, right here. So you may get a little bit of a pullback, but this is where combining price structure education along with these the indicators that really can help. So we had a nice, looks like an order block down in this area here. And you know, after an order block, you need to have a fair value gap. And you got that, okay? Looks like you might, this also could be one. And it looks like it stopped the retracement right here. Look at this one. This is kind of cool. So you had one here and here too. And so check that out. It stopped the retracement dead in its tracks there. And then we got a bullish pyramid. So this kind of additional educational information is really helpful. I think I'm going to come out with a course on how to identify order blocks and fair value gaps. And, you know, no nonsense, just kind of a very, you know, quick way for you to identify those and how to use them. So be on the lookout for that. All right. Oh, Ed, man, you're back again. You are the man today. So Ed, hold that QSG, okay? Continue to hold that. All right, NTLA. All right, he's up 44%. All right, let's see how we're doing here. All right, what's the first thing I look for? PTFs. And we have a green one again right here. All right, so let's see what we got. We have a big breakout here. That's very bullish, okay, obviously. And you had it here. So bullish week on NTLA. Probably some news or something came out on it. And if it didn't, that means the institutions are on it for some reason. Okay, so here's what we do with this. Let me just redraw this. Really accurate there. All right, so I think probably we looked at this before. And this is not a wave, you know, this pullback here was basically a new low. So we're looking to see it's a possible new trend or what. Can't be a wave 3, even though the owl says it, because it went lower than a normal fib retracement, and then went lower than what would have been wave 1. So, you know, you disregard it when the price structure doesn't fit where it should. All right, so in a case like this, we got to move up here. And I drew in this fib retracement probably last week or the week before. And one of the things that we're not sure of right now is this a new trend that's going to take out this high, or are we going to just go to a fib retracement and then go back down? So I played little bit conservative here, safe bet, that this is the first target range here. Now, if we reach this target range, let's see what price action does. You know, if it stalls and comes back down, we'll take some profits. I would suggest it. But we'll see what the price structure looks. So we can take a look at this when we get up into that area. But I think, Ed, at this point, you're at 1639, and we're thinking, you know, maybe 72 up here. Let me just check with the PTF. See, the PTF's really not giving us a high target range right now because it's forming above the 80% mark. So in that case here, this will be the PTF high if it pulls back. So that's kind of how that works. I think I'm going to give this one a recommendation for everybody, but you need to put your stop, okay, below this large price bar. In fact, let's just see where the most recent order block is on that. Yeah, I mean, if you could put it down here, that would be great, but that's pretty far down. I would put it under this red bar right here. So right around $12.23 with an expectation of shooting for $72. So that's a pretty good risk to reward, okay? All right, let's take a look at SERV, serve. Okay, serve, not much history. All right, when you don't have much history in the weekly chart, it kind of makes it difficult to use that, except for the fact it does have a green PTF. So I do like that. But in terms of wave counts or anything else, a little difficult without a little more history. All right, so this one definitely is an interesting one. It has definitely moved up. And you're up 44% on this. And this is saying we should take out eventually the high at 24. So you got quite a ways to go. I think you're going to get a pullback here. And looks like you had 3 pushes up. This is another thing you can learn in the course. I'll come out on price action. But you have 1 push up, 2 push up, 3 push ups. So you usually, unless it's a new trend up, you usually get a change in trend significantly back down to the possible order block area. So, and you have a little bit of a wick here. So you're up 45%, should go higher, okay? However, all right, you may want to take a little off the table and think about it if it goes 1 tick below the price bar here or even here. All right, I think you'll be okay, but that's I think you're due for a pullback, I guess is what I'm saying. And if you get a pullback and this trend's not over, this support area should hold. All right, so this one you may want to take a little off the table. You can always go back in, right? All right, COHR. COHR. All right, let's see what we got here. Potential buy. Okay, so you're not in this one. All right, green PTF on the weekly, but you know you're sitting at 107, so 123. You had a big gap down in a recovery here. So where is this going is the next question. And kind of hard to read, all right? You had a little bearish divergence here already, and now you're having it again. I would not do this one. And the only reason I say that, okay, we may get another high, but it's not, in terms of percentages, it's not that great because it's so expensive. But you have bearish divergence here, okay? So, you know, unless you were a really short-term trader, this might have been not a bad entry here at this pyramid here. But it's run away from that, it's filled the gap. So I would say no on this one, okay? All right, excellent. Good job, Ed. You had some good ones in there. Ooh, Gene just posted the link to the MOR report, so check that out. All right. Okay, let's see what we got here from Constance. How are you? All right, LPX. LPX. All right. A big long-term game. Woohoo! And then re-entered and now have a small loss. Okay. Well, hopefully you talked to your financial advisor, Constance, before that, because you may have a tax situation. Don't forget those nasty little capital gains taxes, right? All right, so unless it's in your IRA, then you're okay. All right, so let's take a look at this. All right. Let's see what we got cooking here. So my question would be, why did you re-enter? Unless you kind of wanted to do something for other reasons. So I'm not sure where you got out either, but you had bearish divergence between here and here. I think this is still going down. Okay. All right. So if you have a stop loss in place, that's fine. Okay. But it looks to me like it's got another leg down. All right, Gene's got a little note here for everybody. Thank you so much for your likes. Oh, Ed. Ed's saying great book, and I didn't pay him for that. Okay. Thanks, Ed. All right. Let's see. What do we got here? All right. Stu's saying, oh my God, 30 years. I know. We're getting older, Stu. That's the problem with that. All right, Frank is here. Hi, Frank. Yes, we think the same way, right? Let's see what we got here. Okay. Here is Ray. Hey, Ray, how are you? Okay. On Open. Isn't that American Express? Open. Let's see what we got on that. Oh, boy. My thoughts on it? I wish I was long back in July. That's my thoughts. What a monster. Okay. I wouldn't go in now. Wait for a pullback. Don't FOMO into this. A couple things to look at in terms of price structure. Okay. Big move up. All right. And now we've got a little consolidation. So, you got a bearish bar today. You've got this indecision bar up here. So the momentum's kind of juicing down a little bit on this. And you can see it coming down a little bit on the owl. Now, that doesn't mean it's not going to make new highs because you have a green PTF also on the weekly. But you're probably due for some profit taking. So what I would do on something like this is I would grab the fibs at this point and put those on the chart. And then I would look to see there's a gap here. So there's probably a high probability we're going to end up in this zone when it pulls back. Now, could it make another high? Yes, it could. Okay. But I think, and then if that does, we'll have to redraw the fib retracements. But I just don't like chasing markets like this. And, this pattern, this made a new high here, but no follow through. Now, if we were sitting here, we've got all this red stuff, and we had a bull breakout, I would say, okay, but there was no follow through. And that makes me a little bit nervous. So that we might be now heading into a pullback. So I would hold off on this, but I'm going to put this on the watch list because I got to tell you, when eventually it does pull back, I think you want to buy it. Okay. You're definitely in an uptrend. Definitely. Okay. I wouldn't short it here, but just wait for the pullback. Okay. All right. Let's take a look at your next one. IONQ. IONQ. I play around with a lot of software, even by other vendors, and I like doing that because it keeps me educated of what other people are doing. And I got to tell you, I always come back to the art software because it's simple, basic, and easy to read. But I do like educating myself. So from time to time, I do like using or testing other software to see how it compares and works, and if I can gain any additional edge. But I got to tell you, when you come back down to it, I can analyze a market in 20 seconds using the art software. So it's right. It does the job. All right. So on this one here, again, FOMO. Too late. Okay. Notice how the pyramid, however, got you in right here. Okay. So that was a nice one. And if you want to be a little conservative and wait for the break of the channel, you have that. So now, what do you do in a case like this? Well, don't chase it. All right. But let's find where the order block is. Let's find what happened before it took off. And that's going to be right here. And there is the order block. Then you have a bunch of fair value gaps, right? Let's take a look here at the longer time frame. Okay, so you have a big fair value gap here, which represents this distance from here all the way up to here. So we got to wait for it to pull back in there, and then you should be a buyer, okay? Because that will be a high probability long trade for the next big leg up. All right, so let's, I'm going to write this one down as a watch list. I'm telling you, that's going to set up to be a big trade, a really good trade. In fact, you can even bring some fibs in here. All right. So I would not probably consider a long trade on this until we retrace. Now, could we go up a little more like the other one? Yes. So we just redraw the fibs. But this is the most likely place for it to pull back into this order block right here. I don't think it'll pull quite down to the order block here, but the fair value gap here is probably where it will go. So anywhere in this lower area of the fib retracement, I'd be looking for rejection and then back to the upside. Okay. All right. MSTR. Now that's an interesting one because I liked it and it kind of, you know, didn't do much. All right. So this was kind of interesting. Now, if you know anything about the stock, it's heavily into Bitcoin. It's usually mimics Bitcoin, but it has not. Okay, and that kind of, you know, is interesting. So long term, it's still a long, but now we got a red owl just forming on the weekly chart on the right. We're back into the wave 4 target zone. All right, so 3, 4 had an ABC correction, which is why I liked it. All right, stops are way down here for a long-term trade. So, you know, we're still in it, but it hasn't done what I wanted it to do, which was to keep going up. So it's not unusual to get a pullback after a big run up like we saw here, okay, which is what all this stuff is over here. Boom, boom, boom. All right, so you kind of, you know, it's not a bad trade yet. I'm not going to recommend it. However, I don't like this. Okay, I want to see that go back to green. And I think it may, it looks like on the shorter time frame, the momentum is increasing back again to the upside. So this one here may be a good one. Notice I drew this trend line over here on the daily chart, but we really didn't quite get a close above it. We got rejection above it. So that's another reason why I don't want to recommend it. But I am going to put it on the watch list for next time. Okay, that's MSTR. So I'll put that down there on the watch list. Okay, so hopefully that, Ray, that helps you out. Okay. Jean's saying, yes, 30 wonderful years. She and I just had our 30th year anniversary. We had a wonderful day. All right. And yes, it has been, honey, 30 great years. All right, let's go back here to Stuart. And is that FL? FL watch, thought you set up on daily PTP. Not sure exactly what you mean, because is that FI or FL? I'll try FL first. And now I'm going to try FI. Technically, it's FI, I think, right? All right, because it looks like you put it in caps. All right, so let's see what we got here. All right, so this one still technically in a downtrend, but look what's starting to form. Where see this blue colored pyramid down here forming? What that is that's a pyramid like these red and green ones, but it's blue. And the reason it's blue is because it's forming. It's not yet confirmed. So you don't do anything with it until it gets confirmed. And how it gets confirmed is if prices get above the point, which would be a breakout. Okay. So for right now, it's basically indicating a range. And you get ranges when markets move in one direction, either up or down significantly, like it's moved down, you get little ranges. Okay. And sometimes the ranges can be the beginning of a new move back in the opposite direction. But in any case, in this case here, we still got some fairly significant wave 3 down. We may get a retracement. You've got a huge fair value gap sitting here. All right. So you need to get above that before we're out of the woods, because a lot of times prices will move up into that fair value gap and then turn down again. In your favor for the end of this, it looks like we have 1, 2, 3 pushes down. So that's pretty good. I wouldn't want to go short here. Okay. But I'm not ready to go long. Okay. So I kind of hold off on that. And if you were short, probably time to cover. Okay. All right. Let me keep going here. Lowell, how are you, Lowell? All right. Let's take a look. Looking to go long, maybe too late on these. Well, we'll take a look. All right. We'll see what's cooking on these. All right. So, well, you're getting a little pullback. You got a red PTF, my God, on that weekly chart. So that's interesting. All right. So you hit some support or structure here. All right. That's important. And it kind of took out equity. Okay. Took out equity. And now it's heading down. So no long yet on this. Let's see how far down it goes in terms of how much, you got equity here. You got equity here at the bottom of these pyramids too. Let me just bring this back into range here on the weekly. You've got a broad-based weekly range that's lasted for quite some time, since 2024. I don't think I'd be in too big a hurry to get into this, okay, because I think it's coming down. The next area of support is going to be this structure here. So if you get a bounce off there, then you have to wait and see, does it go up here and keep going? Or does it hit this fair value, this structured area, and topple back down? I think it'll do that. Okay, so I would say no go on that. All right, let's see if we got AMPX. Let's see what's cooking on this bad boy. Yeah, too late. Okay, notice the bull flag on the weekly from a couple weeks ago. And you actually saw the beautiful entry off that bull flag on the pyramid. Look at that. So that pretty much formed when the breakout of the bull flag is. You can't get a better signal than that. Okay. So the pyramid's perfect conjunction with the bull flag on the weekly chart. Too late now. Okay, let's take a look at KRE. We must have looked at that one before because I had it marked up. All right, KRE, red PTF. This looks like NLY kind of. Doesn't knock my socks off, so I'd say no. Okay. And yeah, so far we got NTLA from Edward. All right. Gene with the links. Put another link up to the art book. I think you can click on them from the comments area. I think that's it. All right. Hey, and Stu, got you, buddy. All right. Hey, listen, also too, I love the back and forth between all of us here. And, we have that Discord channel. I'd love to see people get on that and post trades they've done. You can put a picture on YouTube of something you're looking at. And I'll be even glad to help you and answer you. So if you put some, I think there's one in there in the general chat you can go into in our Discord channel. So I'd love to use that like a blog. all right, where you can post questions and post pictures that, maybe you get an error message on something and you can post that and I'll take a look at that and see if our team can help you with that. Or maybe, you're thinking about a trade like you are now and you can post a chart up there, or you took a trade that did great, show us, okay? And also if you did something using, let's say the pyramids gave you a great entry, that will help other people learn how to use it. And so Discord's all about helping. So definitely check that out and join that. Thank you, Frank. I'll send you your $20 in next week as well. All right. Okay. Yeah, Stuart, I think we got FI. I think we got that. All right. Oh boy, I'm going to owe Frank a lot of money here. Well, you keep saying nice things about me. Thank you, Frank. All right. Eleanor, let's see what we got going up here. CRCL. And you're watching it. Okay. Ooh. Not much info on that baby. Okay. Weekly chart kind of doesn't help us, except the price structure looks like it's kind of rolled over. So we got a green PTF on that daily chart. Just not a lot of information. Okay. Here's what I would do on this one. I would not go in now. Let's wait for the pullback, and you should get another pyramid if the pullback is good and the momentum after the pullback rallies. You should get another pyramid. Then I would go in, okay? And even if you get a pullback down pop, we don't really have any fair value gaps, so that's kind of interesting here. Let me just see if you have any. No, it's kind of, so I would say a pullback on this and then break out again. And then I would take the trade, okay? And you should get a pyramid in there, okay? So I don't think I'd go in now, okay? All right, Dean just posted the Discord link. So you can click on that and join us in there. Yeah, it's brand new. We just formed it, we're kind of funny because, we've been in business a long time. So we first started out, websites were the biggest and greatest things when we started our business. So we did that. Then email came along, and then we did a lot of affiliate type of broadcasts with other people. That was the big thing. And then it went to YouTube and social media. And now Discord is a big area that people also like to use because it's so interactive. So I really think it's a great thing. Maybe a little bit of a learning curve, but depends on your age. The young people know how to use it. Us older folks might have to learn it a little bit. But once you get it down, it's pretty easy and pretty fun. And it's better than a blog because it's so interactive. Okay, so it's kind of cool. All right. All right. So, okay, James educating me here. She's telling me all my links are posted and they are hot links, meaning you can click on them. Okay, good. All right. Oh, okay. Yeah, you can trade. You can show your TradeZilla. In fact, we are an affiliate of TradeZilla. I love TradeZilla. TradeZilla is a advanced record keeping system. All right, and it did such a great job. I figured, why don't I just use them and promote them in trying to develop a more advanced one for me. So I just use theirs, and it's great. And you can upload everything, whether you're prop trading or you're trading your own accounts or you're testing stuff, and it will give you the information, and it's all online. So it's kind of cool. All right. All right. So I think I've gone through them all. All right. So for today, NTLA. Let's go back to that one. Take a quick look at it. NTLA. And then on the watch list, I've got Open, IONQ, and MSTR. Okay. So here we are here. Now, let me just talk to you a little bit more about this NTLA. So the thing is with this, all right, from a price structure standpoint, this is an extremely bullish bar. But what usually happens, especially if this one ends as a red bar today, what interestingly happens is it usually starts to retrace down. Now, those that follow Al Brooks would buy. They would just buy here. Stop would go down here. And this is actually a high probability bullish trade. But as soon as you put your stop here, it turns into a lower probability trade. So the key for this to do well is to have your stop far away. So a higher risk in this point, meaning your stop is far away, increases the probabilities of the trade. Now, the way I would play this, especially if you're concerned about, having the stop down here because it's going to lower your trade size so much, wait for this to retrace and then wait for something like a wick like this, and then put your stop under wherever the low point of the retracement is. That way, it's done the harm it wanted to do, and however far down it goes, and sometimes they only go halfway down, sometimes they don't go even that far, and sometimes they go all the way down. All right, but at least at that point, even if it came down here like this and rebounded, you can put your stop here or here because it's so close, but that's going to give you a little bit lower risk, but still maintain the probabilities of the trade to begin with. Okay. All right. So there you have it. All right. That's my 2 cents. All right. Eleanor's got another one here. Let's finish up with her here. DE, and you're in long. Okay. Let's check what we got cooking here. All right. Let's see what we got. So we got a big pullback coming on here. Got a green PTF. All right. So once the pullback's over, because there's a green PTF, we should have another leg up. All right. Is it over? Well, technically not quite yet. But let's just draw in the fibs. It's in the retracement area. So since you've you've been down with it this long, you might as well stay with the party, so to speak. Let's see if we get a move off. We do have a red owl just forming here. So that's kind of interesting. I think you're going to have to choose a line in the sand. I don't know how long you've been in this for and what your profits are. But let's see if it doesn't show some types of sign of reversal soon, or at least before it goes below this blue line, then bring it back next week, okay? Because I'm looking at this thing here, and we kind of got some structure right here at the bottom of the fib retracement, and it looks like we had some rejection off there. So we may be heading back up from now. So hold that, but bring it back next week, okay? AMD, let's see what we got here with this one. Same type of thing, in a retracement, green PTFs long term. All right, so you broke out of a micro channel on the weekly chart. Usually you get more highs after that. This is indicating that we may go a little lower into that target zone. So we'll have to wait and see. But after that, we should get more highs, okay? A, B, C. Let's see. We had a reversal bar yesterday. Look at that, to the upside. So we'll see, okay? Certainly we will see. And again, this is the nice thing about this PTF indicator. Kind of it keeps you, gives you the confidence to stay in, even if you're in a correction and you can, you don't mind the correction as long as the outcome is in your favor, right? And the PTF can give you the confidence to stay in. Okay, so that's a big deal. All right, or to take a trade to begin with. I love that indicator. Okay, NVO. Let's check that out. You can use that for day trading too. And it's helped me a lot. All right, so let's take a look at this. All right, NVO. All right, did not stop at the fib retracement on the weekly chart. Ouch, right? Okay, so that is a bit of an issue. However, where's the top of wave 1? We think that is, I'm going to draw a little line across here because that's 2. So that red line, you cannot have prices go below that red line and still be in a wave 4. Okay. And notice that the PTF now has turned green. So we may have seen the worst of it. Okay. So in this one, you can certainly hold it at this point. And notice it took out the equity here and here. So let's take a look at it next week. Okay. I would hold it for now and see if taking out that equity is good. Oh, Gene's back with another link. Boy, this is going to be the webinar links. All right, Gene, thank you for doing that. So this is our TradeZilla affiliate link. If you want to help the channel out and you want a great record keeping system, use that link and you can click on it right away right there. Okay. All right. I think we went through everything. Are we good, everybody? Oh, I think I got that. Yeah. All right. I think I was just seeing if I missed one. No, I got it. I think we're good. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming today, and give us a like. Helps the channel. And God knows we need help. Don't we all, right? So give us a like, and what else can I tell you? I guess we'll see you next week then. All right. Awesome picks. Yes, as Gene says, awesome picks, everybody. Yeah. Even though we don't find a lot, being good at this is weeding out the losers for the winners, right? And then being patient too. And then some we look at, maybe the winners soon, and that's why they go on the watch list. So that type of thing. All right. Well, you guys rock. Thank you very much. I'll go ahead and in here, I'll put a little music on. And then what we'll do is we'll shut her down, and then the recording will be there for you to watch later on. Have a wonderful weekend, and thanks so much for coming. Take care, everybody.